Another night is here for intergalactic sports and entertainment network programming, folks, and once again, it's all about to go down. Four topics and just one winner, folks. My name is Callan McClurg. This is Sports Mania. We're going live right here and right now.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Going to be a good night of programming here, folks. Welcome into a Thursday night edition of the Intergalactic Sports and Entertainment Network sports content on this Thursday evening, June the 9th, 2022, for another episode, folks, of the ESPN Around the Horn knockoff program here. That's what we like to call Sports Mania around these parts here, emulating live across the World Wide Web alongside our fellow sports content host here on ISON, our two good fellows, John Alcorn and James Gonzalez. Yours truly, Callan McClurg, joining you folks here from the home base in San Diego. Mr. Alcorn, a great Thursday evening, soon to be Friday morning in your neck of the woods down there in Texas. But how we doing tonight, man? As always, man, good to see you and good to hear you tonight, man. How we doing?
No, we're good. Just a lot of things coming up. We just had an interview today, so that was definitely a lot of fun.
And also, folks, our good man, James Gonzalez, joining us as well from Southern California. James, I believe the pain and suffering for the LA Angels is finally gone. Goodbye, sayonara after 14 straight losses, my friend. But James always made me think of her jumping on at the last possible minute more so to join our program. How's it going tonight, though, man, up there in Oceanside?
Oh, it just feels like relief, like real AIDS. As you see behind me, I'm a really big fan, and I'm just happy the 14-game losing streak is over for the Angels, and now that we've won a game, it kind of feels like a relief for everybody involved. And all you can do is just hope that they start a new one. So, a new winning one, let's just say. So I'm happy to be here and get into these topics.
Yeah, let's hope it's a 14-game winning streak now the Angels go on. But again, folks, this is Sports Mania. One quick thought from one of our resident ISON viewers, our go-to girl, Christy Wilson, who says, James's Angels beat my Red Sox tonight, in 3 laughing face emojis, with the Angels finally win a game to snap that season high and that franchise record now, 14-game losing streak from the Big A in Anaheim. But again, folks, this is Sports Mania. Again, this is our version of ESPN's Around the Horn. We get 4 topics. We keep tabs on this big old scoreboard right here. You see us down in the bottom left corner of your screen. Again, 4 topics, 1 winner. Again, guys, we keep tabs here, and we go on from there. With that, though, gents, let's go to work tonight. Our first topic is over in the NFL, guys, and a very somewhat, I think, story that people had knew about, didn't take a lot of stock in it, but now they do, in fact, know, though. Tom Brady today, guys, the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has reiterated to sources there is, quote-unquote, no rift between him and Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach Bruce Arians. That, again, has somewhat come to light, I'd say, guys. More so in my mind, this kind of came to light, though, during, I'd say, Tom's first year in Tampa Bay, away from Bill Belichick, where there was a lot of rumors I had heard, though. I think this was even written during the course of the season, that Arians and Brady were, not really seeing eye to eye on play calling in certain situations when they had, taken some bumps earlier in the season versus the Saints, or that game they lost, though, where Brady had a brain lapse on 4th down against Chicago in 2020. Of course, they overcame that, though, and still won the Super Bowl. But, John, we'll start with you on this one, though, my man. Your overall thoughts on the report today that Brady says there's no rift between him and Bruce Arians, though, and more so, though, John, do you believe that is 100% accurately true, though, that that there may not be a rift between these two gentlemen in your mind?
I don't think there's really that much of it. I think they're trying to cause more Kardashian drama here. Like, I get, like, there may be some, like, frustration between, like, a coach and a player, and that's obviously nothing new. Like, you saw, like, Brady with I'm trying to remember his name. He was the Texans head coach, Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien.
He spent a couple of years there. You used to have that one moment on the sidelines where he's like, "Oh, they look like he's about to knock his you-know-what out." 5 minutes later, "Hey, what's up, bro? What are you doing?" And so that I think that's really what that issue is. I think maybe some of that played into what we heard in terms of he was going to be part owner. He's going to be maybe the quarterback there, and Champagne in the rumor is going to like become like the head coach, and maybe some of that was going to happen, and then that played to his unretirement. Honestly, I don't really think there was that much rift between Arians and Tom Brady. I think when two hotheads get into one room, it's just like Alderaan. It's pretty much just going to explode. What you think may go wrong could go wrong, but I don't really think is as bad as what we say. Because how do we know? Because we're just reporters. We're not in there. We're not Hard Knocks. We're not Hugh Jackson going and overstepping his boundaries on Hard Knocks. So I don't think there's that much there. I think it'd be fine, and maybe he gets another ring to put on his other finger that's not a nice finger.
James, this happens a lot, though, in sports, I'd say, my man, that we happen to, two dominant alpha males, and they both, bump heads. I think that's been documented, though. We've seen these things, though, play out in sports. Players and managers, players and coaches, teammates sometimes don't see eye to eye on certain, issues, whether it's play calling, whether it's, guys not, playing the game hard. They're not hustling after they hit a pop fly in baseball, for example, or stuff like that. And some of the stuff does come out. But I also think, though, James, that 9 times out of 10, though, and I think John said it right, though, is that, we're not in the locker room pregame or postgame or at halftime and stuff like that. Like, we really don't truly know what's going on behind the scenes, though, James. And I think that sometimes, though, a lot of this, though, is sadly clickbait. It's more of a thing, though, to get people riled up, pick your favorite side, whose side are you on here? Are you on with Arians or Brady? And just trying to, stir the pot for literally no good reason given whatsoever. But James, your thoughts more so on Brady saying that there is no rift between him and Bucs head coach Bruce Arians.
I think we have to remember all of these different times that rifts happen. The more popular ones come with the teams that, are going for the high stakes, going for the championships, going for the big kahuna in the big city. Right away I think of Kobe and Shaq,
Yeah.
Reggie Jackson and Thurman Munson, Reggie Jackson and, Billy Martin, and how he alienated all the Yankees, the Oakland A's. Sorry to bring them up, but like in the early 70s when they won their three straight World Series championships, nobody got along, and nobody got along with the owner. Nobody got along with the manager. So whenever there's expectations, whenever there's big egos, you're going to have this issue where two guys don't get along or more. And to me, I think Bruce Arians just had enough of that pressure. He's getting older, and, I think the media can kind of spin these riffs a certain way and say, hey, the reason why Arians retired was because Brady came back. Well, maybe that's the case, or maybe it's just great timing, but I just think Arians just had enough on his health, and he'll let someone else step into that coaching role and not have to deal with that for his health. That's the one thing I think. And if you remember with Brady, like John mentioned, in New England, you never thought, Belichick and Brady had anything going, but it came to be true with Tom Brady and Belichick, and then with a lot of other Patriot, the coaching staff there with Josh McDaniels, Bill O'Brien, where, well, they won, but the cost is, friendships, or you have different views on how you want plays ran, your philosophies may clash. And that's going to happen. And if it leaks out to the media, or if something comes out and it may not be true, you're going to have stories like this. And, but I'm just happy for Bruce Arians. He finally got his ring, playoff success. He can find better health and better peace and still have a chance to win it all again. So in the long run, it's better for these two. And what I would love to see, and I don't know if this will ever happen because these are two big egos, but I would love them getting together, like, having a hug or something, saying, "Hey, we're fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about everything." I remember seeing that, like, I think Dwight Howard with the Magic and Stan Van Gundy had their little thing, and there was an awkward press conference where they were together, and Dwight said, "Hey, oh no, I didn't want Coach Van Gundy gone." And then minutes later, he was like, "Oh, that might be true." So you never know with these things. So I'm just happy for Arians to get away for a little bit, not be a coach actually, but go into organization in a lesser role. And Brady, wherever he goes, he's going to attract that media attention.
We welcome on our good man, Big B, Brandon Herrera from Coast to Coast Entertainment. Brandon, we're more so just talking about our opening topic here, my man. Tom Brady saying that there is, quote unquote, no rift between him and Bucs head coach Bruce Arians. And again, though, Brandon, we had said though a little bit in the open, my man, that in a nutshell, that like we had heard some stuff about maybe a potential rift between Arians and Brady, maybe back a couple of seasons ago, back in Tom's first year down in Tampa Bay, where they weren't seeing eye to eye on certain things and maybe on play calling. But Brandon, what do you take away from Brady's comments made earlier on Thursday that there is, in fact, what he says, quote unquote, no rift between him and Bruce Arians?
I mean, what else is he going to say? I mean, oh yeah, we're going to, there's a big rift between me and Arians. Couldn't get along. Glad he's gone. It's one of those things that I don't know. I mean, we're not there. Until players come out and say something, then I would say there was probably no rift between them. I mean, disagreements. I mean, who doesn't have a disagreement with their boss or fellow teammates, on a play call or something? So that might be what everybody's speculating is rift. But, they still did what they had to do. They went out, won championships, made the playoffs. Arians is, now retired. Brady said he was retired. They come back, 10 days later, claiming, I saw a report saying it was due to the free agent market that he wanted to come back now. But, I didn't expect anything less than Brady to come out and say, oh, yeah, there's no rift. I mean, bygones be bygones. I mean, I think he said the same thing with him and Belichick. There's nothing between me and Belichick. We're good friends. So that's all I got.
John, we got about 3 minutes left in this segment here. We'll go back over to you more so is, but John, I think you said it right, though, is that we really truly don't know what has gone on or what maybe did go on during the course of Brady's 10-day retirement or however long it was, though. But that maybe something happened, though, maybe after the Super Bowl when they won it, though, in 2020, 2021, though, where maybe that there was something done after the game was over that we don't know about again, because we don't have, the full-blown access to, those inner circles. But, John, this is last chances here for anyone to add on points here. But, John, what do you got for us to kick off the last half of the segment here?
I think people forgot when Bruce Arians was in Arizona, like Jane said about his health issues, when he retired. I think it was after the crushing playoff loss they had. It was 2017, the 2017 or 2018 off season, when he basically said to Carson Palmer and those guys said, "Hey, I'm going to retire." Brought a new head coach. You got Josh Rosen. I think that was definitely part of it. And this is what I think was key in watching Man in the Arena was like, you don't know, you're not entitled to, I guess, really know what really happened. Was there probably some rift? Maybe. But I think that also, like I said, had to do with the situation of, okay, maybe Bruce, I could be wrong. I could be a conspiracy theorist, a toneful hat on my head, that maybe he moved to that position part of because he had to rift with Tom Brady, but also he thought Tom Brady could have gone to Miami to be co-owner and be the quarterback, and Sean Payne comes in to be the head coach. And then I guess when Tom Brady unretired, that may have ruined part of those plans, and maybe that caused a rift. I don't know. It just also shows that Miami has no faith in Tua.
Brandon, anything else to add on, buddy?
Well, the one thing I'll add on is, Tom Brady, if it wasn't for Drew Bledsoe's injury, we probably don't even know who Tom Brady is. So he should be thankful that, I guess, Brady got hurt and he got his chance, because, not too many 6th, 7th round players, turn out to have Hall of Fame careers. So,
yeah, most definitely. James, in the last seconds of the segment here, what do you got for us, man? James, you're muted, buddy.
big egos will clash. This is bound to happen, and it seems to only get any notoriety with championship expectations. And, it could happen on the sideline with Brady a lot because the camera is always on him. So I'm interested to see what the new head coach here in Tampa Bay, if that'll happen with him. And then with his fellow receivers and Gronk and whomever else that he gets into it with, if they have a bad, losing streak or they're ousted early in the playoffs, I can't wait to see what happens. But again, I'm just happy for Bruce Arians to get out of that stressful situation for himself and move on.
Yeah, definitely for sure. With that in mind, guys, some comments here real quick. We'll get into first and foremost. Real quick, Christy Wilson calls it Kardashian drama brewing between Arians and between Tom Brady. Our good man Ben Kurse also says, "Congrats, James. Y'all broke the streak. Good series, my guy." And also, Christy Wilson also adds on, "Guys, this sounds like something that should have been taken or should be taken with a grain of salt." I think we all thoroughly are on board for that.
So the Angels won today, huh?
They did. They did win.
Wow,
and
that's breaking news.
Yes, they did break right before we went on the air tonight. We were talking about that this evening for sure. With that, though, guys, we'll move over to some somewhat interesting news over in the NBA. A day off here for the NBA Finals, where we get to game number 4 in Boston on Friday between Golden State and the Boston Celtics, though. But, guys, a interesting story broke during today's course of a sports day. That, of course, is Lakers star LeBron James, though, guys. Not talking about basketball with him playing, but about him becoming an owner, perhaps, as he is looking right now at this rate of getting his own franchise into Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, guys, another report came out, I'd say about a week or so ago, that I actually shared to the Ice and host chat, that there was some reports coming out that when the NBA's media deals run out in 2 years, that they would be adding in 2 new teams, including Vegas, along with Seattle, Washington. However, though, guys, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver did, in fact, say, I believe, before Game 1 that those reports were, in fact, false. There's been no talk yet of expansion for the NBA just yet at this rate. But again, those contracts for television for the NBA are, in fact, expiring in 2024. Brandon, we'll start with you on this one because, obviously, LeBron has, obviously we know what he is on the court, though, what he is as a player, though. But also what he has done, though, with his brand off the floor, though, I think is very impressive. And even if you're not a big LeBron fan, you have to respect what this guy has done, though, away from the game, though, in regards to, all the endorsements he's got, the school he has for the underprivileged kids in Akron, Ohio, where he's from, but also about how he has become part of sports ownership, though, with the Fenway Sports Group, with the Red Sox, with Liverpool FC and European soccer, with the racing team that they also have. But now LeBron looking to still stay in basketball in some capacity. And, I think about this a lot, though, Brandon, with, athletes nowadays who have taken, minority stakes or invested their money into sports franchises, notably in the NBA. I believe Kevin Durant is now part owner of the Philadelphia Union in Major League Soccer, along with the NJNY Gotham of the NWSL. James Harden, before he left Houston, him and Oscar De La Hoya both have ownership stakes in the Houston Dash and Houston Dynamo, both in soccer as well. Both Venus and Serena Williams have their stakes in the Dolphins. I think Serena has stake in Angel City FC, also of the NWSL. But that more and more athletes, though, are finding ways to stay involved with the game, whether they become coaches, whether they become, coaches, scouts, player consultants, or in this case, they become part of ownership groups. So more so, Brandon, a 2-part question here, or more so maybe a 1-part question, but more so thoughts about LeBron's comments about owning his own team in Vegas, but also, though, Brandon, your thoughts more so about potential NBA expansion with what looks like Seattle and Vegas as number 1 or number 2 in line, when in fact this may happen in 2 years, 4 years, or 10 years down the road.
Well, I mean, first off, LeBron coming out and saying that he wants to own a team in Vegas. I mean, yeah, go ahead. You got all the money in the world. Athletes nowadays are going to have more money to do than anybody combined. So they're going to be out purchasing big houses, NBA teams, MLB teams. everybody's getting into ownership. Like you said, Colin, LeBron's already got some ownership in Boston, soccer team, who knows what else. I think one is a big slap in the face to Cleveland because, he wants to own a team that's not in existence yet, but he doesn't want to be part owner of his own team. So I think that's kind of a big slap there. I know things didn't go too well on his last departure, but with the expansion, I think it's time for a lot of the four major sports, maybe not hockey so much, to expand or maybe relocate some teams. I know there's talking baseball and football expanding or relocating, but basketball, Vegas is the hot spot right now. So, of course, the NBA is going to jump on that. And there's always been talk that Seattle was going to get an expansion team sooner than later, possibly the Timberwolves. But, the new ownership said that's not going to happen. They're keeping the team here in Minnesota. So,
thank goodness.
I do think we're going to get a couple teams in each of at least three major sports. Hockey might relocate some teams, but I think the three major sports, I think before 2025, I would say we're going to get two new teams in each of those markets or each of those sports.
John, I think Brandon has a very, fair and valid point when it does boil down, though, to when it comes down to when it comes down more so to LeBron in regards to, maybe he could have gone back to Cleveland and maybe have taken on a role there in some capacity in the front office. Part of the thing I read today about the story, Marshawn Lynch recently became an investor during the hockey season for the Seattle Kraken, but was also shadowing Todd Lewicki and the Kraken CEO about learning the front office, learning the other side of the game, though, not just playing the game, but what goes into the front office to make things work on on a daily grind, not just, one day out of the week, though. But John, again, two-part question. Your thoughts more so about LeBron and his potential, his potential ownership of a franchise. Again, LeBron already has some ownership stake with FSG, the Fenway Sports Group, again, with Liverpool FC, the Red Sox, Nesson Television, and also with the racing team. And also, John, more than anything else, though, expansion or relocation, what do you think in your mind works best for the NBA at this rate?
As a Cavs fan, LeBron can go kick rocks. I don't want him in the office. I don't want him working fast food for the Cavs. With that being set aside, because that's a whole nother program. Obviously, if they're going to have two expansion teams, I think for a while, regardless of certain people deny reports because you're working on it behind the scenes. You can't say it until it's a certain time till it's technically official, even though it is, but it isn't. Kind of like basically the Feige method with Marvel and all DC and everything. But at some point, you're obviously going to have two expansion teams. We want the one in Seattle. I believe I heard this right. LeBron is the first player in NBA history to become a billionaire. So
Yes.
Only player right now, and most likely ever, to be a billionaire with this I Promise school in Akron, Ohio, with I believe maybe I think there's another school and it's doing a summer program there. That's super cool. But yeah, I don't want him back in Cleveland. I do not. I would pay LeBron, and I know it's I'll take out a loan for the rest of my life. LeBron, please, for the love of all this Al Gore's internet, please do not come back to Cleveland for the third time.
James, the NBA, I think, has been the one hot commodity that we have seen kind of talking about expansion. Now, Christy Wilson, though, guys, does intervene and also say that the WNBA is looking at expansion. I've heard some rumblings of Portland and Oakland more so emerging as a main one with former LA Sparks guard and WNBA veteran Elena Beard, who's now in talks right now with a group up in the Bay Area for a potential club up in the Bay Area. There's been interest before by the Warriors and Joe LaCobe and Rick Wirtz, who are a part of the Warriors ownership group. I believe I also heard maybe, and hopefully, if you're going to be expanding the WNBA, you better, for God's sake, go back to Houston. I mean, you're talking about the original dynasty franchise of the WNBA from 97 to 2000 with Kim Perot, God bless her soul, and Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Swoops, of course, air swoops in the shoes back in the 90s, and stuff like that. But more so, though, James, overall thoughts about LeBron expressing interest in owning his own franchise in Vegas, but also, though, James, more so thoughts on potential NBA expansion or even relocation, perhaps, though, in your mind going forward?
Well, first on LeBron, I believe he could do whatever he sets out to do. And he's proven that off the court and on the court as well. I think, if he owned a team in Vegas, that would be the most profitable avenue if he wants to own a team, unless, I don't think he'll ever be able to own the Lakers because the Buss family has, that. And, it would be great. And then he'll just be, taking these ideas from the past players. When you think about it, Michael Jordan, did so well on and off the court. He was able to buy the Charlotte Bobcats and now the Charlotte Hornets. Magic Johnson right away had a great relationship with Dr. Jerry Buss. And somehow he got half of the team, I believe, at one time. And then he sold that half, and he became 1/8 ownership of the LA Dodgers and now of other avenues. And if anybody to, do an example of how to be and how to spend your money and how to put it in the business world, I think Magic Johnson would be the prototype. I mean, the way that he went into the inner city, the way he made things happen, buy all the Starbucks, buy all the 24-hour fitnesses.
Fat burgers,
yeah. His own movie theaters, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see LeBron do more of that, more than owning a team, just because it seems like a lot of people need help more than he needs to own a team. But if it helps in the long run where he owns a team and he can profit more off of that and then give back more, hey, I'm all for that. If you're on a platform and you're talking about struggle and you're talking about, you're wanting to give back to your communities, I think that would be a great thing. But to start to own a team and you already owned, part of two with the Red Sox and Liverpool, I think it'd be great if he does Las Vegas. But and then going to the Silver explanation there. First, I think he has to shorten the season, make the regular season more entertaining. And it's just funny we talk about LeBron with this because he'll rest in certain games that are on national television that you bank on if you're the league to have your superstar, your main superstar playing, and he's sitting on the bench, or sometimes he's not even showing up to the arena. So that has to be addressed before you can have those two expansion teams, because you need your business to thrive on and off the court, and you got to have a great product and one that you can assure people to buy into. And with all the resting going on and, the injuries, I understand, but if you're not injured and you're just resting and it's not at the end of the season, it doesn't put a good product out there, honestly. But I know, everybody here wants Seattle, the Sonics back. With Las Vegas, they had the All-Star game there, and it turned out to be a playground for criminals. And I think that kind of aura has kind of passed now with the Las Vegas Aces coming, with the Vegas Golden Knights being there and thriving. And now you put in the Raiders, which is definitely a nationwide global brand. They'll work anywhere, and they just happen to land in Vegas, and that all those teams are profitable. You might have the Oakland A's moving there, and we'll see how that goes. But to have an NBA team move there, and to have their own arena too, after they just have T-Mobile Arena, that would be interesting to see too, because then Vegas is just like a hot commodity for anything and everyone. And with this whole sports betting thing being allowed there to a certain point, I think it could work out. But first, I would have the NBA product done better before you get into expansion. That's how I see it.
Most definitely. And I think, though, too, that you kind of in a way also throw in, you also, throw in a couple of other, tangents about this in regards to just, certain things going on with what Vegas is building here. Like there's even rumors right now that they could in fact be, building a new soccer stadium for an MLS team. They already have a name. They already have an ownership group kind of already ready, waiting in the waits right now to kind of, go from there. So, I mean, who really knows though? And Vegas at this rate could become, like James said, probably the hot commodity right now at this point in time. A couple of more thoughts real quick. A couple of Twitch viewers joining us, both Nate and also Ace High, both saying Celtics all day, with them again throttling Golden State in Game 3 as James shows off the shows up that Celtics logo. And again, the Christy Wilson also saying that the WNBA is also looking at expansion. They are in fact doing so again with I think about 4, maybe 6 ownership groups coming forward. And again, this is more, I actually wrote about this a little earlier on today, guys, about the NWSL here in San Diego, writing about, how the San Diego Wave has been so successful here because of the ownership backing. And, we had a team here almost 20 years ago, right after the 99 team won the World Cup. And it was more of a, thing, though, where at that time, though, companies were not quite on board with women's sports. Yeah, we had craze after 99, but, I wrote more about how the team kind of sells the product more than the people backing the franchise in regards to, just in regards to, TV and viewership and all that sort of stuff, though, where again, the Wave have Abby Dahlkemper, Alex Morgan, Kaylin Sheridan, that in a way reminds me of how the Spirit back then sold Joy Fawcett, Shannon McMillan, Julie Foudy, Shannon Box, and those, players as well. Nate has one quick thought, guys, real quick before we get to back on track here. Nate's asking, what do you guys think about the Bengals? Well, Nate, our resident Bengals fan, John Alcorn, can answer that. John, what do you have for us here about your Bengals?
It's been a wonderful offseason. The Cleveland Browns are the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens are going to be up and down next year, more inconsistent than the future Vegas Athletics because Lamar could be healthy, maybe. No number 1 receiver. The Steelers have a rookie quarterback. Won't be easy, but it's like a comedy show that it's just great to see another team in your division suck so much because it brings me such great joy.
James, I'll go over to you on Nate's question here again. Nate, thanks for joining us here on Twitch, man. We really appreciate you tuning in and joining us here tonight on Sports Mania. But James, here, man, the Bengals, they were kind of a team, I would say, in a small way. I don't want to, pounce on Nate or John, but I thought a team who was very underrated, but made some great adjustments, though, after Joe Burrow got hurt the previous season with that torn ACL. They addressed the offensive line issues. I thought Zach Taylor could have perhaps won Coach of the Year last season. I thought he really, helped this team turn a humongous corner again, getting back to the Super Bowl for the first time since 1982, I believe, or 88, somewhere in that time frame. But James, your thoughts here to respond to Nate's question. What your thoughts about the Cincinnati Bengals going into next season?
Yeah, first time they made the Super Bowl since January of 89.
89.
I hope it's not one of those one-year wonders. I hope they run the division because it seems like, the Ravens or Steelers always run it. And it's not a knock to those two teams' fans. Just you want to see somebody just rise. And that's what the Bengals did, last year. I'm definitely happy for Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, throw in Joe Mixon, who's been through a lot on and off the field. And for all 3 of those guys to have a great season like they did, with their offensive line holding up until a certain point and then struggle and then somehow make it, their defense playing well enough to make a run like this, like they did, last year. You just hope it continues. You just hope they can attract the free agents or somehow they can make trades to be even better in the future. They have a lot of weapons still. So hopefully they're on the right course, not just to be successful for just one season, but for a good amount of time, as long as Burrow and Chase are together with Mixon. You have those three, and along with the other weapons and the offensive line, and the defense that can show up. Hey, man, sky's the limit. You can continue this, hopefully.
Brandon, I'll go to you now at this rate, my man. Again, great question here from Nate. First thing, we've actually had viewers on Twitch join us here. So again, thank you all so much for supporting us here on the Intergalactic Sports and Entertainment Network. Big B, give us your thoughts here on to Nate's question again. Your thoughts on the Bengals going into next season, coming off of last year's appearance in the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, I think you guys said it best. I mean, they had a great season. Burrow came around. They protected them at key points in the games. I hope to see them back. I hope it's not a one-hit wonder like James said, but that AFC is going to be tough top to bottom. I mean, KC's coming back. Denver's got a new quarterback. I mean, they should be a lock to win their division. I mean, the Browns and the Ravens are, going to struggle, I think. But, they should be definitely the shoe-in to win that division. Get into the playoffs. As we know, anything can happen in the playoffs. I'm kind of hoping that they're not a one-hit wonder. Hopefully they keep it all together, keep signing their guys, keep working towards getting back there because, I think that AFC is going to be tough. I think we're going to see a lot of great football next year come out of that AFC whole conference.
Yeah, Nate, my thoughts on this is you hope, though, as if you're an NFL football fan, you hope and pray that this team is not a one-hit wonder. I don't believe they're going to be a one-hit wonder, Nate, because they really, I think, actually addressed their needs for once, as opposed to maybe years past where they didn't do that, maybe in recent years with, getting maybe some flashy names or stuff like that. But, they actually, took the onus on them to get the offensive line better last season, to protect Joe Burrow last season. And again, a very great, call it Cinderella run if you want to, but I thought it was a very just, memorable season for the Bengals last season for sure. I think we had a couple more things come in. Nate also asked real quick. Also, guys, I'm a big New England Revolution fan of Major League Soccer. What do you believe about a potential playoff push this season? Nate, I'll actually answer that for the panel here. And just looking over the standings right now, yeah, they're in 11th though, my man. But this looks like it's a very winnable Eastern Conference. I think that what we have seen now New York City's been good so far this season, Nate. I'll give them that, coming off winning the championship over Portland last year, all in penalty kicks too, I might want to add, though. But even then, though, Nate, one win and losses by 4 other clubs in front of them, they're right back in the playoff mix, though. So, maybe they've been a bit up and down so far to start the season, though. But if there's anything I know about the Revs, though, Nate, they always find a way. They're not quite the Pats level, but they find ways to get into the postseason. I'd say 9 times out of 10, though. Now, yeah, they don't have that title to really show for it yet, though, because they've been beaten by the Galaxy so many times, or beaten by the Western Conference opponents so many times in club history, but they're always consistently getting into the playoffs. I mean, that's all you can ask for, because as long as you keep getting in there, you're going to be fine, though. But, Charlotte, they're an expansion club. I think people, always say, oh my goodness, expansion clubs don't usually do well. Columbus, up and down. Atlanta, nowhere close to where they were in 2019, Nate. So I definitely have New England still being in the mix, though, because I really feel like, though, that Inter Miami's going to falter. Charlotte may begin to falter pretty soon with them being the expansion side, though. Atlanta, other than Josef Martinez, I don't have a lot of faith in them after that 2019 Cup or that 2018-2017 Cup final run as the expansion side. So I like New England's chances, though, because the 7 through 11, where the Revs are at right now, it's all within striking distance. So I really like their chances so far at this rate. Also, guys, we have one more football question. We have 2 more topics to get to, guys, but we have one more Twitch comment here. Do you guys believe that the Jets could be the dark horse with the additions and the draft hits made here? John, I'll start with you on this one here. Not going to say this guy's name. I don't want to screw it up. I don't want to do that. But John, your thoughts more so here on Big E's question here. Do you think that the Jets could be the dark horse with the additions that they have made and even the draft hits as well, yay or nay?
I don't think that they're gonna be a dark horse team this year at all. Even if they could, I'm not convinced of Zach Wilson as a quarterback. And now last year was last year. Who he played with in college was who he played with in college. I get that you got the weapons. I believe there was an article, I don't know if it was Pro Football Focus, that said talking about they were doing like the coaches rankings, and Salah was toward, I think I pronounce his last name. I always butcher that. That he's one of the worst. I don't see anything in him as a coach. I get like you got Michael Carter, you got your second year running back, you have that's Michael White or something. You have Corey Davis, you have a ton of weapons. You have that defensive end from Baltimore from a couple of seasons ago, and then I believe you had a former Bucks defensive end go to the Jets. So I mean, it's interesting, but I just don't see them with what Buffalo is going to be doing next year. Obviously, Josh Allen has had a ton of therapy bills because he saw a quarter on the sidewalk. But I think with Buffalo, I doubt New England will do much next year because Belichick way clearly is now proven that's not the only way to win in football. I don't see like for the only way for them to do that. Obviously, we know their bread and butter has always been defense. That's how they went to 2 straight AFC Championship games with a guy that had a butt fumble. But I think at some point, even if their defense steps it up, Zach Wilson's gonna have to have more than a mid-tier Andy Dalton type of season for them to really go anywhere. It's possible, but I just don't see it. You got Josh Allen, you have Mac Jones. I just don't see it this year. Obviously, you're in the same division as Miami, who doesn't believe in Tua. You went after Tom Brady. You went after, tried to go after another player. I don't see it, but I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm more than happy to. Unlike other people on certain programs or networks, I'm more than happy to come on and say that I was wrong.
James, I think that Tim Hendricks says it better though, that the Jets are still a year away in response to Eazy-E's comment here again about asking about the Jets could be a dark horse. You know, I think though that to E's point here though, and more so to maybe a point I've made a bit though, and I think E would appreciate this commentary, is that too many times I feel like in football that we place unrealistic expectations on first-year quarterbacks like Tua, like Trevor Lawrence, like Zach Wilson, who, and I would even throw guys to Deshaun Watson in there, because we put so much emphasis on the flashy quarterbacks who win the national title, you know, from Clemson or Alabama, and they don't win right away. And I said this earlier on last football season or recently, is that unrealistic expectations kill these kids' confidence. And also when they're like Watson or Lawrence, when they don't lose in Pop Warner, high school, college, then we start beginning to, and they start, losing in the pros though. That's when people, I think, jump off the ship after 1 year. It's like, let them grow, let them develop, let them experience failure, because you can't succeed every day in life. You're going to have wins and losses on, every day out of the year. Or at least 9 times out of 10, though. But James, your thoughts on Eazy-E's comment here again about the Jets being a potential dark horse with their additions and even draft picks that they have made over the past year or two.
Man, I agree with both of you. Too many times, again, like you said, Callan, we put too high expectations on teams and on rookie quarterbacks especially.
Yes.
And with the New York Jets, you think of, Zach Wilson's rookie year, and then last year, they didn't have enough talent around him. It's like you're hoping that one kid makes everyone better around you, but the players around you aren't as talented as everybody else that are good. So it's like, now, like the moves were made, whatever they could do. They drafted pretty well. You thought to yourself, okay, maybe they're on their way, up and coming. I don't want to say, hey, they're in a position to be a wild card contender. I think the ceiling is the roof, and like Michael Jordan said, which kind of doesn't make sense, but because Michael Jordan, it does make sense. The ceiling and the roof is probably like 6 or 7 wins. I mean, they were 4-13 last year. And you just figure maybe with those additions, maybe with Wilson a year better and a year more experienced, he'll get in the flow of things. And then you have other talents and other additions, like John mentioned, okay, maybe that'll get them a little more wins, but not into the spotlight just yet. Let's not crown them yet. I don't want to do that to anybody, especially in the New Jersey area. We got to remember, in the Jets division, you have Buffalo and New York State that is really good. New England is not up and coming anymore after Brady. They are contenders just a tier below Buffalo. You have Miami with, if Tua can get right with Tyreek Hill and he can keep his nose clean, if they make the right plays, you still have Miami in that division. So with me, quickly, I think just the Jets, they're still a step away. They're up and coming, and their ceiling is about 7 wins to me.
Here, and I apologize. I don't mean to interrupt. Well, I think it's the Jets, and it's almost like even if they had the right guy, they don't know how to handle it or how to develop those players. At the same time, the Jets got Geno Smith, who I'm not sure if he's had surgery to readjust his jaw from many, many moons ago. It's just a team that gave Ryan Fitzpatrick nearly $16 million after 2016. He had a really good season. Yes, I agree. But yet they caved in and gave him that money. And then look what happened. And it's just they screwed up with Darnold. And I think this season could tell for 2023 and beyond if this is going to be a Sam Darnold 2.0 in terms of how they handle the quarterback.
Brandon, what do you make here of Twitch viewer E's comment here again, or a question I should say? Do you think the Jets could be the dark horse with the additions and draft hits that they have taken, in your opinion, for next season? I think, though, again, like Tim said, though, they're probably still a year away.
Yeah, I mean, seem like they've always been a year away. I mean, they just can't get those draft picks to line up and the stars to align. But now you got to factor in Buffalo's going to be sticking around for a while. They just paid out some money. New England up and coming. They got younger talent now. They got a good quarterback there. Miami, like James said, if all the pieces could connect there with Tua and everybody, Miami's going to be a force to reckon with. So, they might, improve, but they might go 6-11 and still be in last place. I mean, unless they can get some division wins out of there, I think that's going to be the key to the Jets, is that they're going to have to, go into the division, 5-2 to be a dark horse. I just don't think they're going to win two with Buffalo, 2 with New England. They're probably going to split, like they typically do, or play close games. But a year away, we can say that. But again, Buffalo's still going to be strong. New England's going to be strong next year. Miami, going to be, strong. So if I'm a Jets fan or work with the Jets, it's like, okay, we need to be ahead of the game, because once Buffalo decides to dismantle, New England dismantles, things don't work out in Miami, they start dismantling. Yeah, we want to be on that road to where, okay, we can jump from 6 wins to 10 wins and possibly win the division. So they just got to keep retooling, keeping the pieces together, just hope that, it all comes together, or the teams ahead of them falls apart via injuries or dismantling. So, I would say the Jets are probably, a year away, but, they got to keep everything aligned and just keep focusing on getting better.
Most definitely. A few more thoughts real quick. Again, Nate on Twitch, hope Burrow's not a one-hit wonder. Going back as well to Christy, she says that the Jets are going to be a hot mess, just like they have been for years. Ace on Twitch also gives us the Pikachu face of the jaw drop emoji. And Tim clarifies, he says, Jets is still a year away, but just for the Jets to make the playoffs. AFC is stacked. They have to win the division. And the Mafia is still in the AFC East division. Definitely for sure. But again, thanks to our Twitch buddies out there. We actually have 3 viewers on Twitch here tonight. I don't think we've had like any people tuning on Twitch until tonight. So thanks to Ace and Easy E and Nate for joining us. And keep those comments flowing here. We kind of took like a halftime break to get to your commentary. But with that, guys, we'll get back on track here. Some news in the NHL. Again, the Lightning today, guys, won Game 5 over New York in the Eastern Conference Finals 3-1 from the Garden. But guys, it's more of a breakthrough hire, I guess, made by the Montreal Canadiens, guys, who sadly became one of the first teams in recent league history to go from being in the Cup final to the worst record in the entire league, though. But they have, though, made a very splashy hire by hiring Canadian women's hockey superstar and multi-winning gold medalist and team captain for their national team, Marie-Philippe Poulin, has been hired by the Canadiens as a player consultant, a role that, of course, we know Steve Nash took at one point in time with the Golden State Warriors when they had Kevin Durant on their roster. With that in mind, John, I will start with you on this one. It's more, though, J.A., about the recent wave, though, of women that we have seen hired, I think, across every major professional sport, whether it's been female referees in football or in the NBA or in Major League Soccer. Again, we had Alyssa Nakian, I believe, become the first female coach to actually coach a game with the Giants in baseball this year. But John, for some reason, though, it seems like the NBA and the NHL have kind of been, on the forefront. The jobs could be done better of really, I think, emphasizing of saying that women truly belong in sports, though, whether it's been players becoming scouts or assistant coaches or consultants inside the front office for roster procurement more so. And again, though, John, when you are able, though, my man, to bring in a player like Marie-Philippe Poulin, who has been, obviously a thorn in USA hockey side, though, with, her clutch play, though, in gold medal games against Team USA and the Olympics or in World Championship tournaments, though, that I think does add a layer to your front office because you have someone who's played the game, different version of it, though, or at least like a slightly different version of it, though, but you catch my drift, though. Someone who has been there, though, and can, in a way, lend a hand in developing talent or finding talent out there with the scouting department or with player development. So, John, your thoughts more so about seeing another franchise, kind of in a way, maybe in their mind, take a gamble, but also bring in a very big name, though, in international women's hockey to join their front office, though, as Marie-Philippe Poulin is hired by the Montreal Canadiens as a player consultant as of Thursday.
I don't see an issue with giving somebody a shot. You could have the biggest nose, you could have feet that are like 50 and a half size feet. It don't matter to me. If you think they're a potential good fit, give them a shot. This is not about believing in this or that and being on this side or the other side. That has nothing to do with it. I think in any opportunity, especially if you're trying to get into sports, whether it's coaching or trying to get opportunity in the sports industry, as obviously myself has been trying to, and Callan's in the industry, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're a redhead, man or woman, if they think that you're a genuine good fit, let's see how it works. Now, does it mean it will work? Who knows? I mean, I'm not the future. This is not the multiverse hasn't been truly broken yet. We don't know. But why not give her a shot and see what would happen? What is the worst thing that's going to happen? I don't see an issue with giving somebody a shot, I think, regardless.
Brandon, we have seen this, though, several times, I'd say recently. I think back to my great friend Blake Bolden, who became a scout for the Los Angeles Kings. He's been a part of the Hockey is for Everyone initiative with Willie O'Ree, former San Diego Gull, Boston Bruins legend, and, trying to get more black people involved with the sport of hockey. And then you think of Megan Duggan, who was a part of a couple of Olympic Games with Team USA. And you think about her joining the Devils, and Kendall Coyne-Schofield, the current team captain, doing stuff with her club teams, but also with the Chicago Blackhawks, both as a broadcaster and as a player consultant rep of the department, though. And that more and more women have gotten roles, though, in pretty high front office positions, not just like being, the traveling secretary for the team or the team athletic trainer, but, the nitty gritty, being on the field, though, as a referee, or on the court as a referee, or, also with coaching, as we have seen, though, with the Yankees having, one of their female coaches as the manager of their single A club in Tampa, Florida. And then you think about now with Marie-Philippe Poulin, huge name in women's international hockey, now joining a very, iconic NHL brand with the Canadiens and 24-time Stanley Cup champions. So, Brandon, your overall thoughts more so about seeing MPP joining the Canadiens as a player consultant as of Thursday in Montreal, Quebec.
Yeah, I mean, like John said, what's it going to hurt? If you think the person's qualified, no matter the race, color, let them in. I'm glad to see a lot of women are getting that chance to prove that they can hang with the big boys, let's say. I mean, I would say it all started back 2020 with COVID and all that, and we're starting to see a lot more women popping up in, major roles, not just like you said, Colin, not just secretaries or equipment staff. I mean, VP of operations, coaches, managers,
general managers.
I think recent, I don't know, I can't remember the team, but I think there's a woman that's in AA that's making headlines, playing and starting for her team that she was on.
Whitmore, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, even Becky Hammonds, we all thought was going to be the next coach for
Spurs or the
Spurs or some NBA team, and now she's in the Las Vegas Aces. Of course, some people think that she coaches the Raiders, but that's a different story for another time. But
Actually,
so I'm glad to see women are getting the name, getting out there, getting in there. A different set of eyes. Sports most of the time has always been from the male perspective, and now they're getting the women involved. So now we're seeing a lot of women eyes on sports. So, props to them, props to anybody that hires them, brings them in, and, let's see what they can do in Montreal, because, the playoffs ain't the same without Montreal being in there, and from them going from Stanley Cup contenders down to being the worst team in hockey, maybe this might be the change they needed.
James, Brandon was kind of rattling off some of those names. So I think about Kim Nang, who became the GM of the Marlins during the, in part during the 2020-21 offseason. But Kim has the credentials. That's what people have said, though, or had said about when Kim was hired was like, you're not hiring some scrub or some unknown female executive. Like, she had a proven track record with the Dodgers and the Yankees. And again, serving in very, very high regarded situations, again, not just traveling secretary or being the secretary at the front office or being the team trainer or the water girl, but like legitimately working with front offices, getting teams better during her tenure. But James, overall thoughts and stance. So again, Marie-Philippe Poulin, multiple winning gold medalist for the Canadian women's national hockey team, now hired today by the Canadiens of the NHL to become a player consultant as of Thursday.
Yeah, you're down with MPP. Yeah, you know me. I
like it.
I hope she gets to drop the first puck at the home opener in Montreal. I think that would be a real awesome thing to see. The fact that she's the best female player out there is awesome. And the fact that she has a passion for the game. She says she's a big fan. She watches, whenever she can, she says. Great communication skills, very strong with that. Player experience, of course. Trying to go for her 4th gold medal in 2026, by the way. I think she's well-spoken. And finally, a bright spot for the Canadiens organization after, these years of, not being so good after a while. I'm just happy. I thought I heard a woman being a not play-by-play, but I think an analyst in these NHL playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was great. And you see it happening all around sports, not only like everyone mentioned here with managerial or organizational jobs, but in the broadcasting sector, you get Doris Burke, not just a sideline reporter anymore. She's, one of the head play-by-play analysts out there. So that's really good to see. And the Canadiens, even though she calls herself a hockey nerd, they need all the help they can get, with scouting, with trying to figure out what players will mesh well with the organization. I wish my teams kind of went this route and hired more women and try to figure out, hey, everyone could get a shot. You have to be qualified. And there's a lot of women out there. I can think of the LA Clippers. They have a game management official, and then someone in the front office that Gillian Zucker. that runs things. And I could think of, Jeannie Buss, that was a staple and still is so many years with the Lakers. And I just hope my teams out there make moves like that. The Clippers have, but hopefully the Angels could do in some form do that. The Raiders had Amy Trask for so many years, right under Al Davis. I just all these stories I heard with Amy Trask and how much I respect her and just love her stories. And I just hope this continues throughout sports with women being at the forefront of organizations. I would love a team owner one day to be a woman. And I think in the back of everybody's mind, I thought Oprah, if she really wanted to, Oprah Winfrey, that she was going to own one of the Chicago teams out there, but she never went that route. But that would have been cool to see. But like I said, hopefully one day we'll have, African-American ownerships in NFL, and then women in ownership. I think that would be the real next step, along with head coaching. And that could come with Becky Hammon anytime. I was kind of hoping Nancy Lieberman would have been a head coach in not just the D League, but in the NBA. I thought that would have been well. So we're making progress here, but still it's not enough, but we're climbing, I think, in society.
And I also would throw Lisa Byington in. Lisa, again, was the first female play-by-play voice of the Milwaukee Bucks this past season on Bally Sports Wisconsin, and certainly have loved her covering stuff with the Big Ten or the WNBA. Plenty of great stuff from Lisa as well at this point in time. Some thoughts real quick about this topic, though. We have one other NFL question I do, in fact, want to get in from one of our Twitch viewers again in just a moment here. But Christy first says, though, glad that women are getting more opportunities in sports. I think we all on this panel agree. And also, Tim says as well, I always thought that Cami D'Anto would catch on with a team in the National Hockey League. Or, Cami Donato, I believe. Yeah, I believe she's actually working in the Kraken organization, I believe, Tim, if memory serves me correct. And our good man, Mess Around Dave says, if only I didn't fall asleep earlier, I would have come on and defended the crown. Next time, Dave, for sure. We'll get you back on here.
Don't worry, it's corruption. I lose every time.
Guys, we have one more football question from our good man, Nate, on Twitch. John, I'll start with you on this one. Who is the next NFL MVP? His personal pick would be Russell Wilson. He thinks he'll have a killer year. But, John, what do you believe? Who do you believe will be your way too early NFL most valuable player for 2022?
In the famous cringeworthy video of Russell Wilson, Bronco Country. That's rad. Just kidding. That's a cringeworthy video on social media. Whoever had put that out there needs to be fired immediately. I don't think it's Russell Wilson. I think you have Patrick Mahomes in that division. Devontae Adams, Derek Carr has Devontae Adams. As much as we don't know what's going to happen, I don't know if Jerry Jeudy is he going to lose his sponsorship with Butterfingers? Is he going to literally made of butter? He literally can't catch a freaking football. And I just don't get that. Melvin Gordon, who you saw counts on my Rays video, like screaming, "What are you stupid? You bring Kansas City by 7 points." MVP though, you're obviously going to have Matthew Stafford in the conversation. Rumors obviously of signing Odell back. I mean, at this point, who gives a fart about the NFL cap? It's literally nothing. I don't know. Cardinals, I think, are going to miss the playoffs slightly. So I don't think they're going to be making the playoffs. As we see, they choke faster than – never mind. I will move on to the next player. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's Mahomes, Brady. I know we talk about the typical ones. It's hard to tell. I mean, there's some young guys I think we could talk about, but I think Derek Carr should at least I'm not saying it because James there. I think because he's been trying to go to Vegas or to the Raiders for the past couple of seasons, but I think that's definitely going to be big. But I'll make my official pick in a couple of months, but it's definitely not Broncos. Once you release that cringeworthy video, Bronco Country, less rad, no, you're done. You're done, bud.
James, at this stage, to answer Nate's question on Twitch, who do you believe is your way too early NFL most valuable player?
I just want to scream, it's too early. Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills.
Be ready.
Brandon, who do you got?
Trey Lance. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. 100% just kidding. That guy can start every game and throw a touchdown in every game. He still won't be MVP. Honestly, I think Cooper Kupp got robbed last year. So if he puts up the same numbers or even slightly better numbers than he did this year, he's got to be MVP. So I'll go with Kupp.
I mean, you also got to think about it. They have Odell potentially coming. I'm not saying he's not going to. You got Odell. You got Allen Robinson. And if you, like I said, you do bring back Odell, he'll put out some really good numbers. But I think it's either going to be Brock Purdy, Nick Mullins, or it's going to have to be probably Zach Wilson. All those guys are going to be in the LMVP, least likely, most boring of valuable player.
What was the name of the Nickelodeon award they gave away when my guy Mitch Trubisky won it in the playoff game? What was it? I forget. It'd be that award is what they'd be. Was that what they'd be getting? Tim goes with Josh Allen for his early MVP.
Yep.
Chris agrees with James and with John. Not going to pick my MVP until the season does begin. Mess Around Dave guy says, I hate to say it, but if Dak Prescott can stay healthy, he's got a great shot for league MVP.
No, this is the Cowboys. I do not like ESPN, but like Callan also knows, what will go wrong is going to go wrong. You paid Cedric Wilson all that money. You don't know if he's going to be healthy. You traded Amari Cooper for a bag of Skittles and a half old can of Diet Coke from Mississippi. And Elliott's getting older. He's turning into a mini golden girl. He's average now. What's going to do with Tony Pollard? You can't even pay your tight end. Your defense is overrated. Trayvon Diggs, obviously, he got a lot of interceptions, gave up a lot of touchdowns. DeMarcus Lawrence is overpaid. It's just, it can't be Prescott because with losing a lot of your weapons, can CeeDee Lamb be the guy? And we don't know.
I just want to clarify, too, that my uncle, Mike McClurg, is not the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Whatever you may have heard on a different network or different networks is been flagged for misinformation. Tim, though, guy says, Purdy? Question mark.
Oh, yeah, MVP of the football. We win it every year.
Actually, Tim's come out on a certain network and said that Purdy's going to start by week 7.
Mess Around Dave says, I'm surprised you didn't say Brock Purdy. Christy Wilson guy says, I will be completely wrong, but at this rate, I'd say Russell Wilson, just at this early stage. Mess Around Dave adding some more commentary. Christy further says, if Dak wins MVP, I'll be pleasantly shocked if he was. And Dave also says, I'm not kidding. He puts up numbers when healthy.
Well, who does?
And he does. I would definitely agree as well.
Amari Cooper, Cedric Wilson's not going to be 100% healthy next year, and because he had all those weapons. But now with Elliott getting older, he's halfway through his $96 million contract. All those guys aren't going to be 100% on the field to get. Your offensive line's getting older. One of them retired last year because of his health. Another guy can't stay healthy. This is not 2016. I hate to say that, but 2016 was their best year when Dak Prescott first came into the league because you had a healthy offensive line. Callan knows it's a healthy sport. If you don't have your healthy front line with you, whether it's hockey or I don't know what they call it in hockey or baseball or anything like that. Yeah, that word. Top line. That it's just not going to work. You have to have the offensive line. I said it with my Bengals. I don't think Dallas is going to have it this year, but I mean, with a dysfunctional division like that, anything's possible.
Tim also says that a certain unnamed host of C2C would say Trevor Lawrence for league MVP.
Yeah.
And then Tim would say I could play Homer and say Matt Ryan could be the MVP.
Dang it, Bobby. That was stupid.
And also, again, man, Ishmael Lancaster says, what is up, guys? Glad to see y'all again. Again, Ishmael, thanks for joining us. And again, more so, again, much love to our viewers on Twitch who are still joining us here tonight. Again, we've topped out at 3 tonight, and we have not had one single view on Twitch until this evening. So again, thanks to the crew over on Twitch for keeping us company here tonight. Guys, one more topic to get to before we get to perhaps some more questions here from our audience, though. But guys, over in the world of golf, though, things are not all lovey-dovey right now between the PGA Tour and the Saudi Arabia-backed LIV Golf Tour, guys. The PGA Tour is cracking down so hardly, guys, on players defecting to this new tour, basically, they have suspended a whopping 17 golfers in the PGA Tour, including Phil Mickelson and Dustin Johnson, who either have resigned their membership to the PGA Tour or have not publicly disclosed their status right now with how the negotiations are going on. Now, John, Brandon, and James, I know you guys don't watch a lot of golf. I don't either, though. I play it every so often, though. However, though, guys, I have said throughout the course of today here on this Thursday that this kind of, new league versus old league kind of gives me like some throwback vibes to the American Football League versus the National Football League, the NHL and the WHA, or in Tim's case, this sounds like the WWF against WCW way back in the glory days of pro wrestling. So, John, I'll go to you first on the final topic here, my man. You need some points as well. The PGA Tour, again, is cracking down on players who have chosen to leave the tour to play in the LIV Golf Tour in wake of the new tour, the LIV Tour, John, being backed by Saudi Arabia. Now, they're playing a tournament right now, I believe, in London, and a lot of guys have apparently made at least 2 to 4, maybe 5 times more money playing in this tour than they would on the PGA circuit here in the States, though, or across North America more so. But, John, especially knowing, though, that there's a bit of some tension going on because of Saudi Arabia having some very well-known and very notorious human rights violations, much like what we saw, though, in China with the Olympic Games last year, though. John, your thoughts about this perhaps new sports war brewing here between the PGA Tour and the Saudi Arabia-backed LIV Golf Tour at this point in time? Where do you stand on it?
I believe Callan's internet is glitching. It is absolute corruption. I am losing. Nah, this is out good of fun. I'm trying to figure out a way to put this. No, these guys are stupid because what do you think? I can think of many different scenarios, like you just pointed out, with what the issues they're having over there right now, of how this will go wrong. Just because you're making more money, whether they're at now, doesn't mean it's going to work out. We've seen it happen, I guess, in other sports, but this is the craziest thing that I've seen. I don't know anything about golf. I played top golf. I can barely get it past the swing without falling on my butt. Okay, I know I can't play, but it's all good and fun. This is weird. Like, why? Like, you're most likely you won't be able to come back to the PGA, and even if you could, that relationship is extremely tenured. It's like going somewhere. Well, yeah, she's hotter, but she's a jerk. Great. You go back to your ex. She's ugly, but she's really nice. She's actually there for you. She's actually the girlfriend you want her to be. I know it sounds like Colin Coward, excuse me, but it's just like at some point, or Shannon, is that just because something seems nice on one end as an athlete, you have to look at it from both sides. And this has to be the stupidest thing, or one of them at least, an athlete has done. Why would you go somewhere where they have issues right now? Like, why? Because you got to know. It's not like magically you're going to go there, everything's going to work out, nothing's happening. We live where we live, but that doesn't mean there aren't issues going on in the world right now.
Brandon, I think John is right, though, that, we can look at this story right now and really, truly, look at this as Tim alluded to. I think, Brandon, you would agree, though, my man, of this being WWF versus WCW, back when the invasions took place, in pro wrestling. Or we can look back, though, Brandon, on, the AFL and NFL before they merged. There was 2 separate leagues, and they had, there was like an unwritten rule. I know that we don't care about unwritten rules on this program or on this network, though, but they had an unwritten rule agreement, though, where the rival league wouldn't sign free agents away. But yet when the NFL signed a kicker from Buffalo, the AFL lost their mind. And then we had the whole NHL WHA beef going on during, the 70s when, the WHA was in San Diego and kind of, adding new cities, though, and we're kind of threatening the NHL because of the TV revenue and things going on at this point in time. So, Brandon, your thoughts more so, again, 17 golfers have been suspended by the PGA Tour, some of whom could be, there's been talk of lifetime bans from the tour. Dustin Johnson already announced his plans to resign his membership for playing in the States. Phil Mickelson has been in a lot of hot water since this announcement came out, though, when he announced he was going to be playing in this on this tour, though. But again, the money is one thing and stuff like that. But more so, Brandon, is this perhaps like maybe in a way like our modern day version of WWF, WCW, AFL, NFL, NHL, WHA, or more so, Brandon, your overall stance though on seeing the PGA Tour trying to crack down on seeing their golfers leave their tour for a perhaps bigger, better product, though, but again, with a lot of baggage, though, over with the Saudi Arabia-backed golf tournament?
It's probably going to be a touchy subject for a while because, from what I hear is it's not, yes, there's some big names jumping over, Dustin Johnson and Mickelson, but it's like not their top players yet. It's not I don't know where those guys rank at nationally in the PGA, but
I think, Brandon, just to interrupt, I think DJ was the number 1 ranked golfer pretty recently in the rankings after one of the last major tournaments.
Okay, was he? Okay, so that, yeah, I guess that would be like Hulk Hogan leaving WWF, going to WCW. It's one guy in an upstart league. Yeah, money talks, and we all know BS walks. So, these guys are getting suspended because they're under contract with PGA. They're announcing that they're resigning. There's a couple guys that I don't think are even close to making their PGA card for next year. So, they're going to do what they can to make money and jump into a different league. Until we start getting more of these, big name top ranked golfers jumping over, I don't think PGA has anything to really worry about right now. But, but to lose your top ranked golfer, maybe they need to look at what's going on inside the PGA. Why did he jump? Was it really the money, or did something else happen? That's something PGA has to figure out. But right now, it's an upstart league. One tournament this weekend. I don't know how many more they have left, but I just think right now it's because it's not going to be televised, so I don't think anybody's picked it up yet. So we'll see how long it lasts and see what happens. But yeah, the guys that might not be able to come back, like you said, Colin, might have a lifetime ban. I know there's some tournaments that they can still participate in because PGA does not regulate some tournaments. So, that could be a driving factor. But, maybe once the sponsorship starts leaving, that might be a big concern too, is if this new league gets some good sponsors behind them, then we might be talking about, okay, now we need to worry. But right now, I don't think we need to worry about it. The PGA is still the top dog. This new league is just starting out. So
I can also report before we get to James that I believe Rocket Mortgage actually dropped Bryson DeChambeau, the king of the long drive and the creatine shakes before a tournament, that he's been dropped with his sponsorship. And I believe, too, that Mickelson had Amstel Light, KPMG, and another sponsor drop him before or when he made the announcement. And I think more so, though, James, this could, in fact, be like the new Monday Night War, in wrestling terms, again, with how it used to be with pro wrestling, or it could be, our new version of the AFL and NFL and the NHL and the WHA. But I think Brandon made the best comment, though, on this segment. The PGA Tour is going to be fine because I don't think, though, that any media corporation wants to touch this particular tour with a 10-foot pole, because they know the baggage that comes with covering it, because you're going to have to talk about Saudi Arabia backing this, this league and, or this tour, I should say. And also, with the repeated, human rights abuses that have been done in the country of Saudi Arabia at this point in time. And I think, though, that Brandon also hit the nail on the head, though, as well, though, James, is that until more big names, and I know that Phil's a big name and Johnson is a very big name, but when more guys, like, just in perspective, like if Tiger Woods ever left, and I think he was offered like $5 million or a very huge check to leave the PGA, but he said, thanks, but no thanks, though. But until like more and more of the PGA stars, like a Ricky Fowler, for example, or a Xander Schauffele or a Scott Scheffler, more of the big name guys depart for the Saudi tourney, then you have a problem. But I also think that more so, though, again, to Brandon's point, though, is I kind of wonder, though, does this kind of become like the AAF, the Alliance of American Football, doesn't only run for like a month, then they run out of money because there's no sponsorship. There's no media picking up this, this tour. So, there's a lot of other factors, I think, though. But I do still believe, though, that this is, in fact, almost in a way like a modernized version of all those invasions of pro wrestling done by WCW or ECW into the WWE, WWF, or again, AFL and the NFL, the NHL and the WHA, again, as just the prime examples. James, to win the game tonight, more so, again, give us your thoughts here, again, about this PGA Tour crackdown of 17 golfers being suspended by the tour for them more so pledging allegiance to the new upstart LIV Golf Tour, again, which is backed by Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, if Roy McIlroy and Jason Day do that, then I would, and then more follow after the examples. Like maybe Mickelson, Johnson, and Garcia tell the other golfers, "Hey, it's worth it. I know, it's a bad look publicly, but you're getting double the money, and it's one event. And I know it's Saudi Arabia, but that's Saudi Arabia money, and it's definitely worth it, But if that starts to happen, then I'd be worried about the PGA. And if Tiger ever went to Saudi Arabia or went with that league, that would be maybe the end for the PGA as a, prominent thing, opposed to what, Brandon said. This is a sport that really needs Tiger Woods. Like PGA really needed Tiger Woods to be, really good again, really great, honestly. But I think people are going to go where the money is going to go. And if they could get it quicker and faster and more of it, they're going to do it. I can recall in the AFL learning about that. They were getting the college players in the draft, and both leagues were competing. It was a war for those years until they finally got together and, AFL became the NFL. And also I could think about the ABA and the NBA.
Yes, that's the other one.
The same thing with the college draft. And then ultimately, the four teams, the Spurs, Nets, Nuggets, and Pacers going into the NBA, with the Spirits of St. Louis profiting still from the NBA because of a lawsuit that's still profiting those two owners there in St. Louis forever, it seems like. We might see something like that with the PGA and with these golfers and with that new league coming out, let's just say. And, it's interesting because golf kind of needs this this trigger, because it seems like without Tiger, without Mickelson, without like a big, great plethora of guys in one tournament, if they're not all going to be in one tournament, and if they're not all going to be in the Masters at the same time doing well, interest is going to drop. So we're gonna see how this goes, but I'm like really interested to see who else in the future makes that move to this new league and Saudi Arabia, despite the human rights thing. I don't think people care when it comes to money, and they'll do whatever it takes. But that's a whole nother animal there. But we'll see what happens. I'm kind of interested in this now.
Same here for sure, guys. We'll get to some thoughts real quick here at this rate. At this point in time, Christy Wilson, I agree at this rate. 17 golfers, 3 shocked faces, definitely for sure. Also, Christy also says, making a deal with Saudi Arabia is like making a deal with the devil. Just ask World Wrestling Entertainment. They had, I think, Brandon, they had what, a couple pay-per-views back there fairly recently, I believe. Yes?
Yeah, they're still talking about going over there, but yeah, there's been a few times where it got scary to where the Saudis didn't let them come back all at once. They kind of, shipped them off here and there, once the check was cleared, and then they sent more off, and the check got cleared. So, Chrissy makes a great point there that, making a deal with the devil. So watch out. I mean, hate to say it, but look what's going on in Russia with Griner.
Yes.
I mean, I know that's kind of a totally different subject, but
Most definitely. Tim also says, this will work out, fellas, as good as the USFL did when a former owner of the New York, New Jersey Generals wanted to move the schedule to August, not keep it during where they were at, I believe, playing more so in the spring. That's definitely for sure.
Yeah.
Ishmael also says, the only thing that is corrupt, John, is Major League Baseball, not golf, with a former co-host of ours and his Phillies somehow, some way, winning or being the hottest team in baseball. Hell has officially frozen over. And Ishmael also agrees, though, John, that he made some great points with your take. Ishmael also says, guys, most of them are like washed up golfers anyway. If we see guys like Colin Morikawa or Jordan Spieth, then the PGA is in real trouble. And Ishmael further adds on, UFC had something in Saudi Arabia recently. And also, guys, too, let's not forget, though, this year's Men's World Cup is in Qatar, United Arab in the UAE, who's also had some issues with, corruption with the government. There's even been, talks of hotel shortages because people are coming in the winter to the UAE for the World Cup. And Tim, much like the movie Encanto, where we don't talk about Bruno, fellas, we don't talk about the Phillies. I definitely agree. However, though, guys and folks, I am waving off the fight and giving James Gonzalez back-to-back Sports Mania victories here on the Intergalactic Sports and Entertainment Network. Though we do, though, guys, have a couple of other comments funneling in here. First from, again, one more question, I should say, or comment. First here from Ishmael, he says, guys, what is your reaction to the news?
Colin Sexton? No.
John, let me first read this, though, to the folks joining us on the podcast is, and John, I guess we'll get your thoughts in a second here, but let me read this, though, first. Ishmael first says, what is your reaction to the news that broke a couple hours ago from Sam Amico that the Lakers have interest in restricted free agent guard Colin Sexton, but the only way they could sign him is work out a sign-and trade with the Cavs for Sexton and sending Russell Westbrook and Talen Horton-Tucker in massive salary back to the Cavs. James, you have a perplexed look on your face, so I'll go to you first, and I'll go to John and then Brandon. But James, your thoughts on Ishmael's comment here?
I always remembered when I think Colin Sexton was drafted, and that was the summer LeBron was, didn't say it yet, but he was on his way out to the Lakers, and they asked him on draft day, hey, how would you like, do you want to tell LeBron to come back and be one of his teammates? And Sexton was put in a real bad, embarrassing spot. Hey, yeah, LeBron, I would love to play with you in Cleveland if you want to come back. And it could happen in LA. And then I feel awful for Westbrook because it's like you get the stamp of approval from Darvin Ham, and it looks like if this somehow deal goes through, or this is a rumor for now, but all that gets swept away and Westbrook is again on the move. And it would just feel awful for Russell Westbrook after getting, like I said, that stamp of approval for Darvin Ham. We talked about it, yesterday or Tuesday about that. You know how, Darvin said, hey, he's got a full tank of gas still. He was an MVP. He's going to fit well into our system. Don't worry about Russ. And then this comes out. So, hey, it'd be a good deal for both sides, especially I think for the Lakers. But we'll see what happens. Again, this is why I think the offseason is more interesting than the regular season with all the moves that could happen and the drafts.
I want to hear this Alcorn rant, but in a second. Brandon, I'll go to you first, though, more so about this comment from Ishmael about a rumor from Sam Amico about the Lakers perhaps getting in on Colin Sexton, but perhaps having to deal away Westbrook and Talen Horton-Tucker probably as well, along with cash as well, to Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing with basketball. It's, one guy gets traded for, two big salaries and, some little leftovers here or there. I mean, Lakers are in a real bind because, a lot of things went through LeBron reportedly that he wanted these players and didn't work out. Now they're going to rebuild. So is it still going through LeBron? Is LeBron the head of this, this wave of free agency? I mean, did they kind of tell LeBron you need to take a seat, step back and let us build this team? So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what the Lakers do, see what Cleveland does. I mean, there might be more teams that, they could say they're interested. I mean, heck, Minnesota could be interested too. And, it all comes down to the money, the pieces, assets. I mean, to me, I don't think the Lakers have much assets to give. I mean, I don't think they have draft picks, and yeah, they got big contracts, but when do they expire? When are they free agents? So it'll be an interesting move this offseason for the NBA to see what happens here.
Oh man, I didn't think we'd be getting an Alcorn rant about something not related to football an hour and a half into Sports Mania. But John, floor is all yours, my man. What do you got?
Before I feel like I'm gonna lose my garbage, Russell Westbrook's cap is about $45 million for the next couple of seasons. So that I think is really the only issue I feel like for LA. Because, or maybe necessarily like mostly for the Cavs, because that's a lot of money for Cleveland. It's not like they're known for spending money on players. But honestly, why would you trade Colin Sexton, you freaking dumb ass? Why? Do you hate your fans? Who's going to be the number one guy? Really? And you wondering why I don't want LeBron back in Cleveland because of stupid bull crap like this? This is not the Lakers. It's the Los Angeles LeBron. And I know Ishmael is going to do the same thing he did with MI6. He's going to troll me, and that's fine. I would rather have massive diarrhea and context and be on this team and then go away and then come on. What are you doing? It's the stupidest thing in basketball. It's almost like if Chicago had some good, decent, and then your quarterback's working out, and you trade him away for who? A Snickers bar and a Sprite? Why are you trading for a guy that can't win an MVP, that frankly is overrated, who's never going to get a ring? I don't blame KD for leaving. Why would you trade Sexton, you freaking idiot? Any free agent. Don't go to freaking Cleveland. This is my only meltdown of the year. And if it freaking happens, I'm going on an hour rant on my own podcast because I don't talk basketball. But this is stupid. You're only a player that has a lot of potential. You have Allen from the Nets. You have whoever freaking Kevin Love, who I forgot he still played for the Cavs because he doesn't play any freaking minutes. I would literally have to get hair surgery because I would literally pull out all my hair. It's bad enough. I heard rumors about a certain player going to a certain team. I think me and James or somebody else were talking about. There's a certain player that hasn't worked out, that's been dysfunctional in Cleveland, that went to Brooklyn, that could go to another team. Oh. Why this is freaking Cleveland. They're stupid. They're the same city that gave another player or screwed over another player better, perhaps, who could have had had potential. He's still in his early to mid-20s. What the fuck are you going to do? Jared Allen's going to be your number one guy? Seriously? Y'all, we don't have to agree in basketball, but imagine, though, y'all have your starting players. Jared Allen's going to be the number one guy? No. No. You can't even develop your own players, and the one guy you can, your dumbass is going to trade him away for who? An old bag of freaking, what's that terrible chips that nobody likes? Chex Mix. Chex Mix. Literally nobody asked for it, and people eat it. We don't want you, Russell Westbrook. I don't want you. Houston didn't want you. You're an overrated player. You're literally a terrible example. He can't even shoot the three consistently. No. And the problem is, and I think, like Ishmael said, Sexton is a free agent after, I think, this coming offseason or next year. So if I'm LA, I would wait till he becomes a free agent. Therefore, you don't have to trade for him. You can maybe figure out a way to work of Russ Brick's contract, and then you sign Colin Sexton. I don't want a guy that shoots bricks on the freaking court. You shoot, 32% from the floor or from the three, give or take? I don't want this guy on my team. It's bad enough we had Isaiah Thomas for a short time, and he's been on 30,000 teams in the NBA. We had Jay Crowder for a short bit. If we forget that too, we had Derrick Rose for a short bit. This team sucks. Literally, you're wondering why you're never going to get back to another championship. Who's their head coach? So after
JB Bickerstaff,
he's a free agent this offseason? Oh God, Cleveland, just move away. The Browns suck. The baseball team, I believe, sucks right now. The basketball team sucks. You have a better luck of starting. I would rather watch single-A baseball in Cleveland than freaking watch this stupid team play next year. Jared Allen, and if Kevin Love can play more than a minute and a half in a basketball game. Why? Like, we've seen, right, Callan and Big B, and we've seen stupid sports decisions. If you're Cleveland, why would you trade a guy like that away? Are you stupid? Dumbass.
I think the Cleveland Monsters of the American Hockey League have a better chance of winning a title more, sooner than later, as opposed to the other teams in Cleveland. Christy tells you, John, if I were you, John, I would just file for divorce from the Cleveland Cavaliers, my friend.
Honestly, if I divorce the Cavs, I expect some financial restitution for my time there as a Cavs fan, because there has to be some benefit. Like, do I get financial restitution? Like, I expect that money in my bank account. But
does that mean I have to do a PSA saying if you were a Cleveland Cavaliers fan after 2016, you may be entitled to financial compensation?
Please. It's not about that we're not going back to the finals. It's these stupid decisions. Like, look, I'm going to look up our guy's head coach. This is so stupid. Like,
JB Bickerstaff is the head coach.
Who?
JB Bickerstaff. His dad, Bernie, played at the University of San Diego and was pretty damn good many years ago. A long time ago.
But I'm saying who because he's not like a guy that, like, even if you rebuild, they don't know how to develop their players. You traded for Allen. You traded for you tried to develop was it Jordan Clarkson, another guy, I can't remember his name. They literally can't develop
Larry Nance Jr.
Larry Nance. They don't even have the right staff. Terrible. Well, I don't know. We'll see. That's debatable. You don't have the right trainers. You don't have the right everything. Like clearly, who's ever hiring these people are stupid and needs to be fired right now. James, myself, Callan, Big B, and a 6-month-old a day could literally do so much better than these people. Like, I understand your job is hard, but dude, you've had since 2018 offseason, and you haven't shown any lick of improvement in terms of developing your players and heading in any direction. They're not heading in any direction. They're literally like, I'm sorry, James, but like your Angels. Like, they show a little bit of it, and it's just like, what are we doing? Like, why? You can't develop your players. It's like we talked about with our football and other topics. You're going to the same thing over and over and over to the point where it's like you're beating a dead horse. The horses aren't like, why? Like, what's the point? If you can't develop your players, you can't establish leadership. It's just going to be the same thing. And it didn't make it 8th overall pick. So it's a disaster.
Plenty more thoughts about this rumor here. Ishmael says, I feel like a Sexton, AD, and LeBron Big Three will win probably a few more games because it will be younger and fresher legs, but not a lot more than the Russ, LeBron, and Big Three. Marginal improvement, but the bigger question is most likely Sexton will be signed to a 3 to 5 year plus deal. So him and AD will be your stars post LeBron James. Do you trust those two to lead your franchise moving forward? I personally won it with Anthony Davis's injury history, sadly.
He's more injury riddled than a 95-year-old grandma in the nursing home, and I mean that because this guy hasn't played a full season in his career. Despite we talk about AD this and AD that, well, frankly, I think he's one of the top overrated. He's in the same category outside of the ring in 2020, like Russell Westbrook. Very fun to talk about, but very overrated. Can't stay consistently healthy. I'm sorry, like it's just who he is. LA gave him that 5-year contract, and now my head's about to explode.
Ishmael further says, gents, Cleveland does need a ball handler to run their offense, which is why Russ would fit better opposite Garland than Sexton. Further, Mr. Lancaster says Russ has only a player option at $47 million left, John, just to clarify that. And also, he's a free agent afterwards anyway. Tim Hendricks says, wow, John, that is an amazing nuclear meltdown from Square 2 tonight. Christy Wilson further says Russell Westbrook is a jerk. Ishmael further adds on to his comments. Sexton is a free agent this year, John. He's restricted, meaning that Cleveland can, but however, though, John, he's restricted. The Cavs can match any offers that Sexton does get from another team.
But knowing Cleveland, they're going to get it's the same city. It's going to be the same freaking thing over and over, just like with the Browns, just like with the baseball team. It's just going to they're not a smart organization. They relied on so much making it about LeBron. Let LeBron make the decisions that when LeBron left twice, they couldn't make their own decisions. They literally went had 18 or 20 wins with not Anthony Benhair. I can't remember his name. He
Anthony
played
Bennett.
And then another guy that mentored Kyrie early on in his career. Like that same team.
Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, you drafted him. Look what he's doing. Really? And so it's just like as a Cleveland sport, which I know it's funny because I'm a Bengals fan. These guys can't develop their players, so I don't understand how everything would change all of a sudden.
I mean, Cleveland and San Diego have to be the two most tortured sports cities because all the time, I know that the Cavs have their title from 2016, but you just think of players who go there, then leave, then they excel, somewhere else. I've seen this movie, for 28 years of my life here in San Diego. So I
totally Minnesota.
And Minnesota, same exact way. Well, you guys have the links though, so that's excluded though from that conversation. Ishmael further says Cleveland declined his 5th-year option on his rookie deal for Sexton.
What?
Tim further says, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is pretty cool, too. I mean, I'll give him that. Christy further says the Cavs are run by incompetent and stupid people. And Ishmael further adds on, anyone who has predictions for the game tomorrow between Boston and Golden State is game 4 tomorrow. Ooh, Boston went up 2-1 after Steph Curry got a bit roughed up in game 3. James, going to roll with Boston or go with Golden State?
Depends on Curry, but I think I think Golden State will win.
One vote for Golden State. Brandon, how about you?
I'm going with the home team. I'm going with Boston.
I hope.
One vote for each side. John, who do you got?
Has to be Boston. Can't root for the Warriors because they beat my Cavs so many times.
I know I picked Golden State, but depending on if Curry plays and if they're shooting the ball terribly again, the home crowd in Boston takes over. I think it could be Boston 3-1. We have a couple of thoughts here. Christy's going to go with the C's. However, I do hope that Steph Curry is okay, definitely for sure. Tim also says Warriors even things up. As much as I think that Boston should win game 4, Golden State's bound to punch back. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ride with Golden State as I have, though, since the finals began, though. So I like Golden State, though, with or without Steph. I think that just means, though, that if there's no Steph, though, other guys got to step up, though, and carry the load for Golden State. But again, folks, we are calling the fight here tonight once more. Big Game James is our winner. 185 on the board tonight for James Gonzalez. Here hitting with that, though, Brandon, John, and James will get into tonight's final thoughts. Oh, man, tremendous show here tonight on Sports Mania. It just seems like that every night that we have this program, we get so much great commentary and great viewership. And again, shout out, though, to our 3 guys who watched us on Twitch tonight, though. That's the first time. John, I think that this is the first time that we've had anyone from Twitch write in and watch a program for Ice and programming. But, John, we'll go over to you, though. First, my man, your final thoughts for tonight's show are what?
Cleveland, you suck. You declined his 5th-year option, you freaking idiot. Besides that, it pissed me off so much. Literally, it's like they're run by the Browns. It was a good show that, like I said, we haven't had any people that do this on comment on Twitch. So we thank all of you that have followed, comment, and actually shared on Twitch. That was super cool and haven't seen that before. So it was a good stuff.
Yeah, again, thanks to our the Twitch audience tonight for joining us. Mr. Gonzalez, on a 2-game win streak here on Sports Mania. Mr. Gonzalez, your final thoughts for our program tonight are what?
Yeah, 1 game and then months of nothing and then playing again. My schedule's just been crazy, and I think all of ours have been for sure for this show.
All of us agree.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for having me on. Man, that certainly woke me up with all the Cleveland talk with John spewing his frustrations out. Unbelievably. Look at this.
Fuck Cleveland, you suck.
He is not happy. He is out of here.
John, goodbye. Sayonara, my friend.
Yeah, on that note, hey, great show. It was very hype, very lit, as the kids say.
Yeah, all them young whippersnappers, about 10, 20 years younger than us watching this program. Mr. Herrera, we thank you for jumping on in the middle of the show, my man. Good night for you on the scoreboard. Coming up in second. But Big B, final thoughts for tonight's program or what, my friend?
No, thanks for having me on. Big shout out to Oklahoma's girls softball team for taking home the title tonight. Congrats to James. He's got more wins than Anaheim has in the last 15 games, I think it is. So good for him. Thanks for all the viewers for commenting. And, outside of this network, please keep checking out Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. We got a lot of great shows on that station as well.
Yes, folks, keep supporting Coast to Coast. Again, they are helping us out in a big way here on Intergalactic Sports and Entertainment. But again, though, my final thoughts once more. Again, congrats to the Oklahoma softball team once more. Jocelyn Allo, a phenomenal career for her, 3 30-plus homer seasons. And the way that she went out on top, though, playing left field in the last inning for the Sooners tonight, their 6th title in 9 years. Patty Grasker remains one of the greatest softball coaches of my time watching college softball for sure. And again, all of our love, though, to OU and the Sooner fan base. But, John, coming up this weekend, my man, we got 2 action-packed entertainment shows with both Star Wars and Marvel commentary coming everyone's way this weekend.
Star Wars, Marvel, my podcast that we have on Sunday. So there's a lot to unravel because I'm not very happy right now. But Bronco show on Sunday at 9 o'clock. Then we got the Marvel dudes, a lot coming up with a lot of news on the next phase or 2, so that'll be cool. We had an interview today, so yeah, just check it out, and hopefully I can actually win one in the next couple of years.
Now, your time's coming, my friend. Your time is definitely coming. A couple of quick thoughts, guys, at the final buzzer. Ishmael first says, Callan, miss your Sports Lounge show, buddy. Any chance you are bringing that back this summer? Can confirm it is coming back sometime soon. We're going to begin reaching out to a few guests, though, once I get more of my days booked for my summer gigs again, other than me covering women's pro soccer here in San Diego with the San Diego Wave. I'm also going to be doing some Little League baseball games with my good man Steve Eicher here locally in San Diego, and traveling up to a couple of WNBA games to get some content for ISIN, hopefully on Saturday, if not hopefully sometime soon, to cover one of perhaps Candace Parker's final games of her career in Los Angeles as a visiting player with Chicago, hopefully. Further, Tim says, sorry, John, but the Cavs are now run by the Art Modell family.
Yeah, they're being run by Dumb and Dumber. That's who they're being run by. Literally, but they're literally being run by the Three Stooges with Dumb and Dumber.
And Isaiah.
Isn't that the movie that Ed Sheeran's in, as one of our fellow former co-hosts once said, apparently? Christy further says, awesome show tonight, guys. Thanks again for watching, Christy. And also Ishmael further says, with laughing faces across the board, bye-bye, John. What got John pissed more? Drew Lock's play for the Broncos or Colin Sexton trade rumors? I go option B.
Sure.
Yeah.
Option B by leaps and bounds of the imagination here tonight. But again, folks, another great night on Sports Mania once more. Again, folks, as a reminder here, again, check us out again over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. We will have again Across the Galaxy recapping the Kenobi series episode 4 with John and Trevor on Saturday. Again, John Alcorn's solo show is back on Sunday. And then I'll be coming in after work on Sunday evening for another episode of the Marvel Dudes with John to talk some very big things coming Marvel's way and also recap episode 1 of Miss Marvel that debuted on Wednesday as well. So again, check out our entertainment block of programs, folks, on Saturday and Sunday. But also, as Brandon said, though, check out Big B and the guys over at Coast to Coast. Again, they're helping us out here, folks, in such a major way, though, again, getting some of their guys on here again. And like I've said, though, folks, so many times, I think Brandon agrees, though, we are just trying our best to try not to take away their viewership from Coast to Coast here on Ison again, because, again, Ison and Coast to Coast are working together in a very nice partnership here where, you know, either John and I are going over on their show, same with James, and they're coming over here. But again, we're just trying to, again, work out schedules where, again, it all lines up. And again, I know that the start times don't usually line up for guys like Brandon or Dave sometimes, or any of the guys from Coast to Coast, because we're, you know, all, you know, I'm based here on the left coast in San Diego, as is James and stuff like that. So again, that's why you see a lot of, like, you know, dead time for Ison right now. But again, folks, trust us, stay with us, keep running with us. We're going to be here and delivering more and more content as we get more and more consistent days and more manpower to keep building this fully operational battle station that you see here for intergalactic sports and entertainment. With that, though, folks, for James Gonzalez, our now two-time defending Sports Mania champ, Big B, Brandon Herrera, and John Alcorn, yours truly, Callan McClurg, bidding you a pleasant rest of your evening and a very good early Friday morning to you, folks. Again, we'll see you back here Saturday and Sunday for some entertainment talk here. Star Wars podcast back on Saturday. John Alcorn and his show is back on Sunday morning. And the Marvel dudes are back for the second episode of season 3 on Sunday evening as well, folks. Till then, good night and bye-bye.
We would be honored if you would join us.